I'm Cameron. I don't just read comics, I love them. And welcome back to another episode of Cameron Reads Comics. On today's episode, I want to be talking about Wonder Woman Dead Earth by Daniel Warren Johnson. So, check it out. Wonder Woman Dead Earth was one of the first waves of DC's Black Label line. DC Black Label is DC Comics' line for mature readers. Just think rated R comics when the market of DC is usually like PG-13. It's written and drawn by Daniel Warren Johnson, who is absolutely blowing up right now. Or at least in my world. I had not heard of him, and actually I didn't even want to pick up this book originally when it came out because I thought it was just like Dead Earth and Wonder Woman are not two synonymous terms that really go together in my like headcanon or understanding of Wonder Woman. But then I read Daniel Warren Johnson's book, Do a Power Bomb, which also, like, judging a book by its cover, didn't seem like my type of story, but it was freaking amazing. And so I knew it was something this bombastic, it like had such an effect on me that I was like, okay, let me go read something else. If you follow me on the Cameron Reads Comics Instagram, he's the only author who I've posted twice now mid-story of his thinking, oh my gosh, this is so good. Like, I post about the story before it's even finished because I'm having like such a good time reading it. So when I was talking to my comic book store manager, Ryan Skinner at Pulp Fiction Long Beach, I was like, what would you rather have me read? Do a Power Bomb to get his flavor or Wonder Woman Dead Earth? And so as soon as I finished Do a Power Bomb, I said, okay, Wonder Woman Dead Earth, we need to read this. And so here we are, and I'm so glad I did. For accessibility, I am critical of DC's Black Label, mostly because I feel like the label was created to just tell R-rated stories of Batman and like Joker. Obviously, I think that market is so saturated already, so I just didn't really care. And I think it's also like they can be so much more gratuitously violent in these kinds of stories, in that kind of storytelling medium. So hearing that about Wonder Woman, it was just not something I really wanted to do. I think a lot of people want to make Wonder Woman just like a super bloody death warrior because she is an Amazon. And I like always have pictured her as much more of like a tranquil character. She emphasizes humanity and hope. But when I think the warrior in her is done well, is done in something like this, or it's done in like Tom King's current run. People want Wonder Woman to be the Punisher, and that's not really my jam. For DC Black Label, a medium or like a platform where I think that these stories would be super gratuitous and I think kind of lazy. Plugging action in where actual like character depth can go, or like new ideas or mature kind of themes surrounding different characters. Because I think that's when DC Black Label is actually at its strength, when it can emphasize non-important characters. Think of Mr. Miracle by Tom King, where it's like, wow, we just added a layer of depth, maybe a little like gnarliness to that character, and it blew up. Same thing with characters, not like Wonder Woman here, but The Question had a great DC Black Label book. The Flash's Rogues had one of my favorite DC Black Label books of all time. There's a Swamp Thing Green Hell book. I think that's the perfect character for Green Label. There's John Constantine Black Label books. So for Wonder Woman, I was like, I don't know if I really want a mature reader's Wonder Woman story. But when I knew it was Daniel Warren Johnson, I knew that I could pick this up and I'd be taken care of. So, yeah. Now, getting into the story, I think the most easy way to like tell you about this book would be to paint in your picture I consider this the old man Logan of the DC universe. I think it is straight up the theme and kind of like world of old man Logan, but make Logan Wonder Woman. The story starts out where she wakes up in a cryo chamber after the Earth has fallen, and she even wakes up in Wayne Manor to a dead Batman. And that kind of sets the theme for the rest of the series. You know, we always kind of joke where Batman could never die. He's always the man with the plan. Da, da, da. What could have happened in this world that killed Batman? What could have happened? Where are the heroes now? Where's humanity at? It's a desolate, dead Earth. craters in the ground. There's really no life. It's kind of like Mad Max in a way. Kind of like Dune. Literally, I just watched Dune for the first time. It's kind of like that. Kind of. Armed with the weapons of fallen heroes, this story is about Wonder Woman making her way through the world, finding out what happened, and if she can still save it. Is humanity worth trusting? Can humanity trust her? In the graveyard of planet Earth, Wonder Woman must try and save the last people on the planet. And so where does she try and take them? To Themyscira. And that's all I'm going to say, because I think you guys really need to pick this up, figure out where the story takes you. But it's really, really, really well done. It's just really good. It's a really fun story. I think also Daniel Warren Johnson writes the best heart in, like, the best humanity in, like, the most fantastical medium. The story consistently breaks your heart, but it also fills it up with hope, which is, in my opinion, I think, obviously Superman is hope, but Wonder Woman is humanity. And it's just absolutely amazing how he's able to navigate that. There's no better writer that can do something like that can really hit you in the gut. Yeah, Daniel Warren Johnson, story-wise, hits it out of the park. And now, let's talk about the art. So, I'm a huge fan. I think my favorite kinds of creators are the ones that write and draw their own stories. When artists become writers, I think there's really something there. And Daniel Warren Johnson understands the storytelling part of comics as a medium better than most. He lets the panels do so much of the heavy lifting. They fulfill his exact vision and narrative, and the way that the story, like the text on the page and the art merge together to create such a specific vision and world is amazing. I think he draws some of the best fight sequences. He crushes. One of the features that I want to talk about too, about him as an artist, I was very apprehensive to pick up a Daniel Warren Johnson title, because I'm like, when I saw his art for the first time, I really didn't like it. When I saw the gritty, grim, this cover of Wonder Woman Dead Earth, I'm like, I'm good. And there's a bunch of tentacle monsters in this book too. I'm like, I'm not very much a tentacle monster guy, but I stuck around obviously for it. Yeah, I just didn't like it. But I want you guys to know too, this actually reflects my taste more than him, because you know what other artists I didn't like when I first saw their art, and now I'm just kind of like, I was wrong. Frank Miller in Dark Knight Returns, I was like, what is this? I don't like the way this art looks. Everyone looks so weird. And then Tim Sale. I didn't read The Long Halloween for a long time because I was just thinking, how come Joker has so many teeth? It pulls me right out of the story. But obviously it's those are the two of the best artists to ever do it. And one of the, two of the greatest Batman stories of all time. So I'm just like, what? If you could let that keep you from really diving in, you could really miss out on some really great stories. And I'm so glad that I picked this up and I figured it out. And I kind of had the maturity level to look past that. It goes to show, hey guys, Cameron learned not to judge a book by its cover. So it puts him actually in my brain in a very special category of oh wow, no, you're so much better than I ever thought you were. Johnson's art is so dynamic and so wonderful. Probably one of the most dynamic artists. I haven't seen movement on a page come to life like this since someone like Darwin Cook, which is, if you guys know how much I love Darwin Cook, it's so much, and it's some of the highest praise I can give. He draws some of the best motion in comics. Motion and emotion. I just threw that in. That was in my notes. His art wears his feelings on its sleeves, and I can't think of just enough good things to say about this. I think we should go into the rating now. I speak very, very, very highly of this book. It wasn't without its flaws. It wasn't a completely perfect story, but I really, really enjoyed it. So my rating for this book is an 8.9 out of 10. Really great story. I think everyone should read it. I read this in a day. It is 4 issues. Wonder Woman Dead Earth number 1 through 4, and you can just pick it up. You don't need to know anything about Wonder Woman. You don't really need to know anything about the DC universe either, because they're all dead. So that's not a spoiler. I already said that at the beginning of the episode. So Anyways, have you read the story? What is your favorite Black Label book, DC Black Label? Put it in the comments. Clobber those like and subscribe buttons. My name's Cameron. I don't just read comics. I love them. I'll see you next time.